So, last weekend, Edita and I were out on a little date, and my tire went flat, and I had a spare, luckily, was able to change it. And
full-size spare?
Full-size spare, yeah. I don't want to have to hobble to a service station and, deal with that.
Right.
But in the interest of keeping entropy at bay, we got to get the flat tire patched as soon as possible so I can continue having a spare. So.
And you've come to Dad's garage.
Dad's garage, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you all about this and explain how this works. If you've done this before, I'm probably not going to tell you anything you don't know already, but maybe this is new to you. So the first thing to understand is that all motor vehicle tires these days are tubeless. So wheelbarrows, lawn tractors, stuff like that, they still have tubes, but not things like on cars and trucks. A tube is that rubber donut that holds the air inside. Now, this is a tubeless tire, like pretty well every other car, truck tire in the world. And that means that the connection between the rubber and the rim needs to be airtight, because there's nothing else in there to hold the air except that connection. And this area, it's called the bead area, where the interface between the rubber and the rim happens. It's the bead. Interestingly enough, last week or so, this tire went flat, and I was going to do this repair with Robert. I thought, well, let's see if we can find the problem. We couldn't find a nail or anything in the tread area, so we tested for a bead leak. So that's a leak of air between the rim and the tire.
What's that you've got there?
This is a 50-50 blend of, well, it's actually more like 80-20 blend of water and dishwashing liquid. We squirted this all around, and we found that there was a bead leak right here. Actually, the water was bubbling up. The soap makes it bubbly, and we spread this on, and it bubbled. Now it's not bubbling now; it's just kind of being foamy, but it's not bubbling up. We couldn't fix that here, a bead leak, because you really need to dismount the tire, clean the bead, put some bead sealing compound on, button it all up again, rebalance the tire. So we sent this off to my friend Al. He's a mechanic, he runs a shop, did a great job. Bead leak solved. Robert and the family is out this past Sunday. They come out, the tire's flat. I knew it wasn't the bead leaking. Al had fixed that properly. So there must be some other kind of leak. And that's always the first step with these things. You have to find out what the problem is if you want to fix it, and that can be more difficult than you might think. In this case, we could find no nails or staples or anything that's damaged the tire.
There was nothing obvious.
Nothing obvious.
Sometimes it is obvious.
Sometimes it is, but that's the first step. When you have a leaky car tire, is to go around, use your hand, look everywhere. You're looking for a nail or a staple or something that has punctured the tire. And very often it's worn right off from travel, so it can be hard to see. Your fingers are a good indication. In this case, we found nothing. Now, by the way, we did all this while the thing was, or we could have done this while the tire was still in the vehicle. Because this tire had left Robert stranded and he put one on, this has come off. But we could be doing this whole procedure on the vehicle, and that's what I usually like to do, because it's just faster. You just don't have to take the thing off. You do have to jack it up and get to the repair, which is what I'm going to show you here.
So that's, if just to clarify, that's if you have a puncture or a leak on the tread area.
On the tread area,
yeah,
exactly.
But like
you couldn't
you said,
do a bead leak.
Yeah, bead leak.
It's got to come off.
Professional.
But
yeah.
In this case, we could find nothing. But the tire was clearly going flat. So we did use the liquid again, and we found the leak. There was nothing there. There's actually nothing visible to the naked eye, but you spread this stuff on, and look at that.
It's bubbling up like crazy.
Bubbling up like crazy. Now that's a leak that we couldn't have discovered otherwise, but the soapy water really makes an improvement. It makes it very easy to see. And in fact, we hosed down the whole tube, the whole tire with some water as well as this stuff, because we really didn't know where we were looking. But clearly, that's the problem.
Even a really slow leak will show up with that liquid test.
This is very slow. It takes days for this tire to deflate, and yet that's very obvious.
Yeah.
So I'm going to show you how we repair tubeless tires here. And as I said, most of the time this happens right on the vehicle. We don't actually drive a whole lot, so when tires go flat, we're usually at home, and we can fix them right there. These problems are fixed with these, with this kind of sticky, gummy piece of rope-like stuff. This is part of a tire repair kit, and it's for tubeless tires. This is very different than patching a tube, which has a flat patch, which gets glued on. This rope actually gets pushed into the hole, along with a whole bunch of rubber cement like this. So in the end, what you have are the two ends of this rope kind of sticking up out of the tire, and then you snip it off. And the whole thing's been saturated in cement, and eventually that patch, you know, the nubbins of that rope gets worn off, and that's your fix. So that's what we're going to do now. And these are the two tools that you use for doing this. Now this is kind of a reaming and roughening tool, because this hole is very small. There's no way we would get one of these pieces of rope stuffed into that hole. It's just way too small. So
gotta make the hole bigger.
You have to make the hole bigger. It's like a lot of things in life. Sometimes you have to make things worse before they can get better. This is true in dentistry, filling a cavity, you know, auto body work, fixing a drywall hole, whatever. You often have to make it worse before you can get it better, and that's what this is. Now, this is where you're going to run into a problem if you try to do this yourself. We know where the hole is. There's no question about that. So it's right in here. It's right in there. Something's happened. So I now need to make this bigger, and I've got some air in here. And let's just see. Well, can I get it in? Oh, I did. I actually got it in. I didn't expect that, because many times you try to poke this thing in and the hole's too small. It just won't go in no matter what you do. And making the hole larger and roughening the sides is an important part of the procedure.
So what do you do if you can't get that in?
Well, most times I can't get it in at all. So I drill out the hole. It seems kind of crazy. You're going to feel quite strange drilling a hole in your perfectly good tire. But that's the thing to do. But you just want to drill it of just as large as necessary, and then no larger.
Just to get the reaming tool.
Just to get the reaming tool in.
So you want to make a hole a fair bit smaller than the shaft of the reaming tool, probably.
Exactly.
Like what, half the size maybe?
Half the size to start. And then you see what I'm doing?
You're jamming it in, you're sort of rotating and pulling it out.
I'm roughening.
There's certainly air coming out of there now.
There's air coming out of there now, and that's what we want. I mean, that's what we have to do. So I'll just leave this in here for now.
Dad has made my tire worse at this point.
Well, like I said, often you have to make things worse before they can get better.
Yeah. Now, if you wanted to play a nasty joke on me, you could say, okay, video over. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.
Yeah, this tire cannot be repaired. You'll need to do it, Robert. This hole's way too big to be patched.
Yeah.
Well, luckily that's not the case. But, you know, on the topic, though, there are situations where you can't safely patch a tire. And
like
one of them
what?
is if there's a hole in the sidewall. I mean, there are people that'll do that. And let's say we had a hole in the sidewall. We could do the same thing we're doing now, and it would hold air. But the question is, what's going to happen at speed? You know, you're screaming down the highway. There's cars and trucks all around you. A blowout then is a very serious issue.
Could lose control of the vehicle.
You lose control of your life, actually, in a situation like that. So
why is it less effective in the sidewall?
I've been told, what I understand is that it can weaken the sidewall. It can hold air, but it can weaken the sidewall to the point where you could have a catastrophic rupture of the tire.
Oh, I see, because you're sort of relying on the rigidity of the rubber.
Yeah, and, you know, I don't know how true it is. I just know that every Class A mechanic I know will not repair a sidewall puncture. So that's
so if you get a sidewall puncture, you just need a new tire.
You just need a new tire.
Yeah.
So this puncture is actually pretty good. It's in a reasonable place. What we want to do now is we want to peel off one of these things.
Look kind of like rubbery pipe cleaners.
Yeah. Yeah,
They're
they
sticky
are.
too, eh?
They're very sticky.
That's like when you're trying to open the wrapper of your favorite snack food. The more desperate you are to eat it, the harder it is to open.
Right. This is the tool that we're going to use to push this thing in.
So that's different than the reaming tool.
Well, yes, it's entirely different. The reaming tool is rough and pointy. Its job is to poke, enlarge the hole, and roughen the side. This is more like a sewing needle in that I'm going to be threading the plug into here, and I'm going to be equalizing the length. Now look at the end. Look at the end. It's not actually closed. It's open. So
Hold that still for a second. Oh yeah, it isn't connected, eh?
So that lets me push the plug in, but then if I carefully remove it, it's the tool's going to come off the plug, and the loop will be inside the tire.
Pretty
Understand
smart.
what I mean?
Yep.
That's the way that works. So I just have to get this in here now.
There it comes.
There it goes. Yeah. Here we go. Okay.
So you pull it halfway through, more or less.
Yep. Because both sides are going to go in, and when we're finished, there's going to be two ends sticking out a little bit, and then we're going to trim that off. Work this a little bit more.
Yes, the idea with roughening it is you just get more friction and better engagement with the plug.
Now we also want to make sure this hole is big enough that the plug is going to be able to go in.
I guess we'll find out.
We will, and we might have to take another run.
So just more reaming if it isn't.
Yeah. More reaming. Now this is just a universal cement true flat. So you can use it for patches. Patching a tube is an entirely different process. Or you can use it for these plug things. So you basically want to just slather the plug with this cement. Lots of stuff. Because it helps it to slip in too, so. Oh, that's really helping.
Lather around the hole too.
Looks like a little kid when they have a cold.
Oh.
Okay. Let's see if this works. We've lost a fair amount of air there, but okay. Here we go. That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Really?
Now, we're going to trim that off. Let's put some more air in here. Make sure there's nothing leaking.
Your handy DeWalt portable battery operated compressor there, eh?
It's been a great tool. I've been using this for some cedar sidewall shingling. I did a video about that not too long ago.
So are you going to fill it up to full capacity around 40 psi at this point, or wait?
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to fill it up to a known pressure, and then after we trim this off, then you're going to be able to monitor it. Make sure we actually did fix the problem.
So you're wiping off the excess cement first, I see.
Yeah, and then that's it. It wasn't hard, was it?
No, so you don't need to nip it off any closer than that, I guess.
It'll wear off.
Yeah.
Now, some guys like to burn that. They like to put a torch on it, and they call it vulcanizing it after the kind of the process that turns
Like Mr.
latex.
Spock, or?
Well, no, it turns latex rubber into hard, tough rubber that you can use for things. I don't know how important that is. Now this.
So you've never done that?
Well, I don't generally, because the cement is non-flammable. But I don't suppose it would hurt just to touch the torch to that nubbin and see what happens. So. it or not. I kind of think it's not necessary, but in case it is, we're done.
Okay, so that's done now. We're about to do a final test with the spray bottle on the spot again. But
yeah,
you have to wait to...
No, you don't. You can start driving on that right away. This is one of the few things in life that you don't have to wait for it to dry.
Yeah, and this is you saying that too.
This is me saying that.
The guy who says, "Well, Robert, you better wait 21 full days for 5-minute epoxy." So
right. So let's just see. I haven't sprayed this yet. Maybe it's going to leak again. Maybe the whole video has been useless. I don't know.
I don't see any bubbles.
I guess it hasn't been useless.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's holding there. And it's not going to start to leak either, but just to be safe, just to make sure there isn't another leak somewhere, you know, whatever caused this, maybe it was a, I don't know, nail on a board sticking up or something. It punctured the tire once and it punctured it again as you rolled over it. I don't know. So we don't want to put this back into service until it's really proven itself over a few days. But
just filled it up to 42 psi.
Okay,
so
that's the magic number then. So. Anyway, well, thanks for joining me again this week. I hope I've delivered something of value, something that you can help to improve your life. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't subscribe yet, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I put out new videos. And especially check out my website. It's in the description box. You can sign up for my weekly newsletter there. More than 28,000 people get that every Saturday morning, and they love it. They keep wanting more, and I keep writing more. So come and join me. And have a great day.